Alright, it's snowing pretty good here in Wisconsin. It's like 25 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to go attempt to rescue that Polaris we worked on the other day. It quit on the hill on the lake lot, the worst place it could stall out. So we're gonna try to get that ATV back home and try to work on it and see what went wrong. So we're gonna take the Kubota out there. If this thing can't pull it up the hill, nothing can. So this thing's been sitting here for about probably 2 weeks. Let's see if she'll fire up. This thing has heat, so we'll see. Get the glow plugs going. You turn the key halfway to get the glow plugs activated. Let's see if she'll crank over here. It's been sitting outside for at least 2 weeks in the cold. Oh, fired right up. Uh-oh. Spoke too soon. Going. Doesn't like the cold. Just needs to warm up. We'll turn the heat on right away. Alright, heat is on full blast. Alright, rolling up here. They got a lot done in the pole building within the last 2 weeks here. Wow, looking good. We'll have to do a little walkthrough. Oh, my ramp just broke. Oh no. Snapped right there. Ah. There was a little crack right there and it finally gave out. We'll have to have Jim weld that back up. But yeah, that thing's a heavy beast. Surprised it lasted that long. So snapped off right there and right there. You try to fix one thing, the next thing breaks. Crazy. So now the trailer is broken. Oh, that's fun. Well, I'll give you guys a tour of the building after we go rescue the ATV. It looks like they got the roof on. Looks like they got a lot of the sheeting on as well. So, all right, we got some straps here. Bring those along. It is really nice in here with the heat though. That makes a huge difference. All right, let's head out and we'll see if we can go get this ATV. Nothing. It says check engine. Well, we made her back. I pulled it out pretty good. It was going uphill the whole time, so those tires were spinning a little bit. But it did it. We had to strap the steering so it would stay straight, so one strap on each side, and then we could pull it out. You can see all the dirt it flung up from the Kubota. But yeah, that worked out pretty well. And I was warm in the cab, so that was pretty nice. But yeah, it is getting cold out here. It is really cold. We're gonna have to put something underneath the ramp, because that's not gonna support it. So I'll find a log to put underneath there and we should be good to go. Well, back on the trailer, finally. That took forever. Alright, let's take a peek at the new shop here. If you guys missed the update video, go check that one out for the future plans of the shop. But it looks like they got the roof on and a lot of the sheeting on. Let's take a walk inside. Oh, it's nice in here. Really nice. Feels pretty big. I was afraid I was gonna kind of feel small, but yeah, I mean, you can fit a lot in here. Windows are nice and big. Yep, it's coming along. progress is being made. So looks like they're gonna finish the sheeting here, and then the roof is ordered. So the steel roof is going on with some cupolas with some lights on them, which are gonna be pretty cool. So at night the cupolas will light up, and then a weather vane will be up there as well. So it should look pretty cool. So it's coming along. We could probably work in it the way it is now, once those garage doors come. Get a big heater in here and wouldn't be too bad. Once the concrete's down, it'll be really nice. Well, that only took forever to get this thing in the garage. Now we're just gonna let this thing thaw for a bit and we'll start digging into it. So right now, turn the key. It does come on. It's in neutral. And the battery light flashes. And the check engine light comes on. See that? So what we're first gonna do is hook up a jumper to it and see if that makes a difference. Maybe the battery's just low on juice. But we'll try that first, and then we'll start digging into it. I'm guessing something let loose in the engine. Yeah, it just sounds like it's free spinning in there. What the heck, this thing is running good. See that? Let's see if the engine code comes back. No, I think it was just low battery. Fuel pump's working. You can hear that come on. Yeah, nothing at all. That should not be that easy to pull. That should have some resistance. So, yeah, it's got no compression at all. This is not good. So, it looks like we're gonna have to tear this thing back down. Front rack has to come off, all the plastics have to come off, gas tank has to come off, and then we can get to that spark plug and see what's going on. Air filter's still in there. All right, let's get all the side plastics off. got coolant here. All right, let's see if there's a head gasket issue. Crank this thing over. Not feeling anything from the radiator at all. So I don't think we have a head gasket issue. All right, quick check the oil. Doesn't look milky at all. Looks nice and clear. Check the oil level here. Screw it in. Right between low and high. Oil level looks good. So I don't think there's a head gasket problem or a crack in the cylinder or the head, because coolant would be getting into the oil and mixing with it. So that checks out. Get this gas tank off. All right, we got to the spark plug here. So we'll check if we're getting spark and what this compression's at. This should be interesting. Why the heck does it feel like we have zero compression? Let's find out right now. Plug kind of looks white now. That's weird. Almost like it was getting flushed out with something. All right, we're gonna check for spark right away. All right, turn this thing on. Turn it over. That is some crazy spark. That looks kind of weird, doesn't it? Why is it sparking like that? Wow. All right, so it's definitely sparking. I don't know why it's sparking that crazy. Looks like it's consistent though. So let's go ahead and get a compression reading on this thing. Remember from last video, I think this thing had like 55 PSI. We should have like 60 to 80 PSI because it has a decompression mechanism on the cam. So let's go ahead and see if there's any compression. Right now it feels like there's zero. Compression gauge going in. Here we go. Let's see what we get. Nothing at all. Is it even spinning the engine over? It's gotta be because it's producing spark. Well, that's zero compression. Huh. Let's get a camera down there, see what's going on. This is weird. This is really weird. It doesn't even do anything on the gauge. There's no way that piston's going up and down. Nothing at all. I've never seen that before. All right, let's see what the camera says. All right, let's see if we can get this down there. All right, let's see what we see here. All right, we're gonna put it right there. Try to turn the engine over. See if that piston's going up and down. Uh-oh. Piston's not going up and down. Yeah, look at that. Piston's not moving at all. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I wonder if the starter gear's out in it. So for some reason, engine is not turning over. All right, well, I guess we can take the cover off for the pull start mechanism and see what's going on. Maybe the gear came out of place. This footwell piece has to come out. All right, now we've got access to the cover here. So we're gonna take this whole thing off. I'm wondering if there's a gear in here that's either stripped out or missing or broken. So let's zip these off quick. There's two more. It's like the hardest one to get out. There, come on. There we go. This thing should come off of here. Let's see. It's magnetized pretty good. Maybe there's water in there? Getting caught on something. There we go. I think the woodruff key sheared off. Look at that. The bolt there is not moving when you spin it. That's crazy. Jeez. Holy cow. So it's not spinning the engine at all. So that's why it randomly just shut off. Let's just see what it does when we turn it over. This is weird. Probably, oh, it still spins this, it's not spinning the engine, duh. So that's how it's producing spark. So it's spinning this. It's sparking, but just not at the right time, and that's why the machine shut off. Ah. That is crazy. Alright, this might be an easy fix then, hopefully. We're going to zip that off and see what's damaged. See if we can zip it off. Uh-oh. That was not on there very tight. Somebody must have had this thing off before testing it out. When I got this machine, the footwell was off of it, so I wonder if somebody had this cover off. I don't know if they were looking inside of here or replacing something. Let's see. What the heck, now it's spinning. What the heck? Now it was spinning the engine. Ooh. That looks rough. Let's see. Yeah, that woodruff key sheared right off of there. Let's see if I can put this back on and twist it. Woodruff key sheared right off. That was the problem. Look, it's just packed right in there. That's where it is. Sheared completely off of there. We've got to get this engine turned so we can see where the woodruff key is. You know what? That's the problem right there. That nut is all rounded off. That wasn't even grabbing on there. So that was just stripped out of there. So it wasn't tightening that flywheel at all. And look how packed full of dirt this is. That is crazy. Look at how packed full of dirt this is too. Wow, is that gross in there. But yeah, that was the culprit. So somebody must have tried to tighten this nut up. It didn't hold. Flywheel backed off and then, sheared off that woodruff key. And good thing I sheared the woodruff key because it could have caused a lot of damage with the engine. So, alright, we're going to try to turn the engine over with a different nut on there. See if we can find the broken off woodruff key. I can kind of feel it down here. Alright, taking a closer look. There is the sheared off woodruff key. Sheared clean off. So we're going to take a hammer and just try to pound that out. See if we can clean that up a little bit and get a new woodruff key in there. Hopefully I have the right size. It's coming. There it is. That's not too bad in there. It's not damaged at all. And then we can try to get the piece out of the flywheel as well. Let's go on the bench and see if we can pound that out of there. Then we're going to try to clean up this flywheel too. It's just filthy. Looks like there's some shavings in there. Alright, those look pretty darn good actually. Pretty clean. So threads are not damaged either. Alright, looking right here, there's the broken off woodruff key right there. So we're going to try to pound that piece out of there. Hopefully it's not damaged in there at all. Alright, we got it out. We're just going to try to clean that up now. Here's a little piece that broke off. Alright, let's clean that up. This whole inside area we're going to clean. All that gunk on there. Looks like all dirt. Just full of sand and dirt. It's pretty bad. Getting a little cleaner here. Hey, you can actually see the flywheel again. All right, we're gonna lap on the flywheel. So we're gonna put some lapping compound around here and then twist the flywheel continuously until it's nice and smooth. So here is the compound we're using. Just gonna put some around here. And a little bit on the inside of the flywheel here. And then we're just going to put this on here and twist it around. It's already grabbing. Clean this up a little bit. See, it's nice and smooth now. Alright, this one takes a square woodruff key, so I had to modify it a little bit to make it work. That fits in there just like that. Nice and tight. And then our flywheel can go on over the woodruff key. It should sit in there nice and tight there. There. That feels pretty good. And then washer goes on. This is the only nut I could find for this thing, so we might have to modify it. But we'll see. I wonder if that hits the cover. And that's why it was such a thin nut. I'm guessing it does. We'll have to measure that. We're gonna really crank this thing on. That shouldn't come off there. That looks pretty darn good. Alright. We modified that nut a little bit. So now it's flush with that shaft. So now this cover should go on just fine. I would think. We'll see. Just make sure this whole thing spins. Yep. That's good. Alright, let's get this cover back on. This gear's on there, good. Let's do a couple and make sure it works. See if that's working. Right here. Alright, doing the pull start. Let's see if it turns over the engine. Oh yeah. That's smooth. With the electric start. Put the jumper pack on here. Sounds pretty darn smooth to me. Let's see if that piston's going up and down. Alright, let's do a quick compression test and then we'll put everything back together. Hopefully this thing fires up. Alright, compression tester going in. Crank it over. Yep, 70 psi. That jumped way up. That was good. So we are at 50, 60, I think we're at 65. That is perfect. So we're getting compression again. One more test just to make sure we don't break that woodruff key. Here we go. Perfect. We're gonna be good to go. All right, let's get our spark plug back in. Gas tank going back on here. All right, let's see if she fires up. Thank God that fired up. I didn't feel like rebuilding the whole engine. Alright, that sounds pretty darn good. So as long as that flywheel stays in that shaft height, we should be good. So far, it sounds pretty darn good. Give it a little rev. All right, still good. All right, I think we're gonna be good to go. Luckily, that was the problem. Let's see if she fires right back up here. One more time. Couple revs. All right, we are good to go. Huh, that was a pretty lucky fix. Woodruff key was just sheared off. All right, this thing's all back together, looking good. Let's go ahead and charge up the battery, and then we'll take this thing for a little test drive.
Come on, Ben.
Well, Vin, what'd you think? Yeah, this thing is fixed. Good to go. We rode this for about 30 minutes and it's working great. 4x4 is working, all the brakes work, has good power, didn't skip a beat. So this one is officially fixed. Vinny, he's crazy today. I think he's getting faster. I was going like full speed with this thing, he was keeping up. He's a quick little puppy. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed going on the rescue with me to pick up the Sportsman 500, diagnosing it, getting it to run again, and then taking it for another test drive. And this one turned out pretty good in the long run. So when this thing stalled on the hill, I thought for sure we were gonna have to rebuild this thing, but we got pretty lucky with it just being the Woodruff key sheared off. And it sheared off because that nut was stripped out. So whoever took off that case before stripped out the nut, and then the nut backed off along with the flywheel. So as long as that nut stays on there tight, we should be good to go for a very long time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. And until next time, we are out. Vinny wants to say bye too. Right, Vin?